Mr. Scott, maybe while you're reading, it might be a good idea to mute our friends.
Oh, that'd be a great idea. So I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody, not because I don't want to hear you talk, but it would be best, I think, so we're not hearing all these extra noises coming from people's... I mean, your dog can bark, and we would hear that too. So I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody.
I can mute myself.
And I don't believe I'm muting me. All right, so everyone can still hear me. Do a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, sounds good. So our story of today is called Library Mouse. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books, and he thought that life was very good indeed. And reference books would be the types of books that people would read to learn about stuff. They would reference the books to learn about stuff. Every day when the library was full of people walking up and down the aisles, studying, checking out books, and working on the computers, Sam was curled up in his little hole, sound asleep. Every night when the people went home and the room was dark and quiet, the library belonged to Sam. And what an awesome thing as a mouse to have a whole library to yourself. That sounds like a dream come true to me, to have a whole library to myself. And every night Sam read and he read and he read. Sam read picture books and chapter books. He read biographies and poetry, cookbooks and sports books, fairy tales and ghost stories, and mysteries by the dozen. And biographies, in case you don't know, would be stories that would be written about famous people in history. Okay, and let me just go ahead and show you the page. This is hard because I'm trying to show you the page, but I'm not trying to make sure that the page gets recorded as well on my phone. Modern technology. It's good and it's not. Sam's mind was filled with facts and information and images of faraway places, and his imagination brimmed over with wonder and fantasy. One night Sam decided that it was time he wrote a book of his own. So you see he's coming up with all these amazing ideas. Let me angle that down so you can see it. And it looks like there's stuff with space and flying on biplanes, which are, type of World War I era airplanes, and it looks like this might be the George Washington mouse crossing the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War, and then there's sled dog racing and all kinds of fun stuff. Sam folded over some little squares of paper he took from the librarian's desk to make the pages. Then he found a pencil that had rolled underneath a shelf, and he began to write. Write what you know, Sam had read in a book about writing, so Sam wrote about being a mouse. He drew the pictures for his book by posing in his little mirror and then sketching what he saw. Okay, so this reminds me of our informational writing, where we're writing about what we know. Sam worked very, very hard, and finally his first book was done. He called it Squeak! A Mouse's Life, and he wrote on the cover, Words and Pictures by Sam. He went to the autobiography section of the library, and he tucked his first book onto the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. And an autobiography would be a biography that person writes for themselves or about themselves. Am I correct, Miss Shannon? Give me a thumbs up. That's correct, right? Autobiography, if I want to write a book about my life, I would write an autobiography. If someone's writing, like Renee said, wow, Mr. Scott, I'm going to write a biography about him, that would be her writing the book about me, or any of you. I'm just using that example. The next afternoon, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. What's this? Asked a girl whose teacher had sent her to the library to do a book report. I've never seen anything like this before, said the librarian, and she put Squeak A Mouse's Life on her desk. Later, she showed it to the other librarians. Sam decided to write another book. It was called The Lonely Cheese. And working on the book made him feel very hungry. It was a good thing that he always found so many crumbs to eat by the trash basket in the hallway. When he had finished the illustrations, Sam scurried to the picture book section and proudly placed his latest book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Okay, and here's that book, The Lonely Cheese. The next morning, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a little boy who was looking for a big book about trucks. "It's another book by Sam," said the librarian. Just who is this Sam, she thought to herself, and put The Lonely Cheese on her desk. Later, she showed it to the children at story time. Okay, you see how tiny the book is. This little boy is holding the book, The Lonely Cheese. And here is a picture of her reading the tiny book to her tiny friends. They're not tiny. You're not tiny. You're just vertically challenged, that's all. But that'll solve itself when you get a little older, right? When you grow up. Some of you are going to be taller than me, I bet. Sam decided to write a chapter book. It was called The Mystery of the Mouse Mansion, and it gave Sam goosebumps when he wrote down the scary parts. The full moon was shining down through the windows of the darkened library when Sam crept over to the mystery section and sneakily placed his book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Okay, so here's him writing right here. And then here is him sneakily putting it on the shelf. You see how he's looking around? He's saying, I hope nobody's watching me or can see me. He's being sneaky. The next day, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a teenager who was looking for a good creepy book to read before bed. "We've got to find out who the Sam is," said the librarian. "I'll leave a note on the bulletin board and tell him that I would like to meet our new author." She put The Mystery of Mouse Mansion on her desk, and later she showed it to the writing class that came in after school. That night, Sam found the note. It read, "Dear Sam," and the note's right here. "All of us at the library have been enjoying your books immensely. We were all wondering who this mysterious Sam really is. Whoever you are, you certainly have a lot of talent. Not everyone has it in them to write even a single book, let alone 3. We think it would be fun to have a Meet the Author Day with you as our special guest. The children would love to hear you read your books and share some of your secrets for writing. Yours truly, Mrs. Forrester, Head Librarian." Okay, so there she is right there. And there's the note. So you see that they're not saying Sam read the note, but we can see that he's reading the note. This is funny. I have to just show this to you before we start reading. That's a pretty big... Look at his head's the size as mine. Can you imagine a mouse that big? That'd be pretty creepy and scary. Maybe I should read the book like this for the rest of the time. No? Okay. Sam felt very nervous. He was happy that the children at the library liked his books. He was flattered that they wanted to meet him. But mice as a rule are very shy when it comes to meeting people. Sam could not understand why people thought that writing and making up stories was so hard. If only they would try, they might find out that writing was really lots of fun. Sam had an idea. He went to the librarian's desk and got some supplies. All night long he wrote and he drew and he snipped and folded and stapled his little rectangles of paper into mouse-size books. And there's those mouse-sized books. And I remember we made books like this too. When we wrote our fiction stories, we folded up blank pieces of paper and we stapled them at the corners there. And you could do that at home too if you want to write a book. Anybody can write a book. Anybody. Ooh, this is cute. So that's a tissue box right there. Let me hold it up so the taped version can see that too. Meet the author. And look, that's so cute. That's 2 little pencils that are holding up that thing. In the morning, when the librarian opened up the children's room, there was a sheet of paper taped to the door. "Meet the author today," it read. A little girl was the first to see Sam's display all set up on the front table. "What is this?" she asked. There sat a tissue box with a pair of pencils taped to the sides and a banner stretched across the top. On the banner was written, "Meet the author," with an arrow pointing down. Okay, so pointing down. Oh, wow. Woo. I don't want to reveal this to you. That's going to be all for today. Thank you very much for coming to Mr. Scott's Read Aloud. Have a great day. What? Okay. Okay, I see people going. Okay. All right. I'll finish it, okay? I'll finish it. All right? Okay. The girl bent over to look in the empty tissue box. "Oh," she said in surprise, for there at the bottom of the box lay Sam's little mirror, and in the mirror the little girl saw her own face smiling up at her. "Me," she said, "an author?" Next to the mirror was a stack of tiny blank books and a pile of pencils that Sam had sharpened with his little teeth. So there's what she's seeing, is a reflection of herself, and there he is sharpening the little pencils. You know, I don't know about you, but I got goosebumps when I read that part. I don't know, something about it inspired me or made me feel like, wow, like he wants them to be authors, not just him. All that day and for many more thereafter, people came to the little display to meet the author. Soon there was a whole shelf full of books written and illustrated by people who had never written a book before, telling stories that had never been told. So here they are all here, writing their stories. Isn't that funny how I have to creep around the book like this? Because I have to see and make sure that you can see it. But I don't want my face, like I have to do that. And then here's all the little tiny books right there. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books. All that night Sam sat in the hole, thinking and thinking about the next book he would write. Would it be a mystery? An adventure? A funny book? A true story? There were so many stories to tell. Aha! He thought, I'll just have to write one of each. Sam picked up his pencil and got to work. And there is Sam writing and inspiring the world with his wonderful, wonderful writing. The end. Gotta go. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going. I'm gonna unmute you all so we could talk about the book. Everybody ready?
That's so silly.
All right, we're all unmuted. All right, so why don't we go around the group here, and I'm going to start in the top. To me, it's here, left corner. And Holden, what'd you think about the book?
I thought it was really good.
Okay.